I never thought I would see the day I announced this on Instagram. You were all shocked. Trust me, I was more shocked than you were. Here is a video about me redesigning my main OC. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. Please don't freak out. When I told everyone on Instagram that I redesigned Andy, everyone was really worried and everyone was really scared. Please do not be. So I haven't been drawing Andy a whole lot, and so because of that, a lot of my newer subscribers might not even know who Andy is. But at one point, Andy was an original character of mine that I drew constantly, and they eventually became a character that I never drew. And I didn't really want to accept that it's because I wasn't happy with their design anymore. I don't think anything necessarily was even wrong with their design. I just didn't enjoy drawing it. And I know that there are going to be people that prefer their original design over this one, and that's fine. I don't really care about that. You can feel whatever you want. It's literally just personal preference, but I didn't really want to admit that that was the case, even though it's something that's been on my mind for a long time, and this is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. But I've been really nervous to redesign them, and that is because they are my main OC, and ever since my channel grew, I didn't want to change that because they became my most known OC. Whenever you guys draw fan art on my characters, it's usually Andy, and I was really nervous about it because I was really worried that people might not like it. I was worried people would be upset with me, and then I thought, hey, who cares? I kind of convinced myself that I was just overthinking it and I just needed to do it. I also decided to not make this a sketch vlog. I had thought about it, but I didn't want to put that sort of pressure on myself. So what I decided to do is to just take as much time as I needed off camera and then come back, make a speed paint thing of it, and then I would tell you about what I changed, why I changed it, and why I decided to even do this. So I busted out some paper, got to work. I was so excited and also nervous again to share with you guys, and then I realized that the paper that I chose was too big for this, so I had to change it. And so I took the same paper and I cut it in half and started sketching it out, and it was going well and I was happy with it, and then I spilled water. So third time's a charm, and honestly I'm not super happy with how this illustration turned out, but I mean, it's fine. It's an illustration. It gets the point across. So there were things that I did like about Andy's design and I wanted to keep. The main thing I wanted to keep was their personality. I didn't have any problem with their personality, and the personality kind of means a lot to me. And if you've seen Andy's video from forever ago, then you know why. I also wanted to keep the general color scheme. I was open to changing the placement of colors and shifting the hues a little bit, but I really wanted to keep the same green and blue color scheme. And I also wanted to keep the general body type. Those were things that I liked in their character design and things that I thought suited Andy's character. And now for the things to change. The hair was the first thing I wanted to change, and a lot of people are probably freaking out when I say that because their hair is probably their most identifiable part of their character. The main thing I wanted to change was the two-tone hair. It's not necessarily the two-toned hair itself that I dislike. I just didn't like it for Andy's design. I think two-toned hair can work for other characters, just not Andy. And so I wanted to get rid of the black and make their hair all blue. I also liked their curly/wavy hair, whichever one you want to call it, but I wanted to change the way that it was styled. I also wanted to keep a similar clothing style and an aesthetic, but I wanted to change the way that those were designed. Andy does have a space aesthetic, and they do like the way that space looks and space-themed things, but I just thought that the sweater was a little too on the nose and kind of silly, I guess, and again, that can work for different characters. I just didn't like the way it was for Andy, so I wanted to change that. The way that their clothing was designed. Now, the way that that sweater even came about is because I originally made Andy as a character that I can relate to. So they were originally FTM trans, but eventually that changed to them being born male and being non-binary, and so what was a chest binder changed to a tank top, and then the sweater was supposed to be just a baggy sweater that was draping off of the shoulders because of how big it was, but then eventually it turned into a regular fitting sweater that was just styled to be off the shoulders. And I really wanted to bring back the super baggy sweater, so I decided to bring that back and really exaggerate that. I think that bringing back that bagginess is again, really suiting to Andy's character. I think it's more suiting than their current clothing design. And the pants I was pretty much fine with. I just wanted to really change the color. I was open to changing the design, but again, since I wanted to keep a similar clothing aesthetic, I figured they would probably stay the same. But I did want to change them from black to a different color. Before, the black pants worked because they had the two-toned hair, which part of it was black for a while, and then it turned into a really dark blue. And so now that that was gone, I didn't want to have the pants black because I just felt like it would be a little bit too jarring, so I decided to change that. Also, another kind of nitpicky change about their character, which isn't really a design thing, but they're 18 now. Before they were 17, but I was thinking about it and thinking about what grades they're in school and when their birthdays are, because this group of characters has birthdays. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense for Andy to be 17. So they're 18 now. And then also Cairo, Mabel, and Sawyer are also 18. So all of the main characters in this story is 18 except for Hadia. She is still her age that she is. But anyways, now comes the part where I actually had to work on their design. I was very nervous, and so I kind of just decided to ease myself into it. When I first started, it was just a very small changes. At first, I kept the hair basically the same, except it was all blue instead of being the two-toned, and I pushed it a little bit out of their face. When I made the sweater, again, I really wanted to exaggerate the big bagginess of the sweater. And so I made the sleeves really poofy, and I made them so long that like their fingers barely pop out of the edge of their sweater, and then also it covers up about half of their thigh. There was also some sort of design that I wasn't entirely sure on, but I liked the idea of having a single stripe across the chest and extending onto the arms, and then having sort of a space pattern. I played around with different sort of space themes. So I had the alien face similar to what I had on their original design. I had a spaceship and I had a planet. In the end, I decided that the planet looked nicer, and then on the opposite side of the shirt, I put 3 little white stars because I thought it needed a little bit more balance. And then also to bring those stars throughout the design a little bit more, I decided to put big stars on their not shoulders, elbows, the other parts of your arm. But I decided to put 2 stars on their elbows on the sleeves because I thought, one, since they are really big and baggy, the stars would help identify where the rest of their arm is in the sleeve, and then also just for an aesthetic choice, just to give the sweater a little bit more visual interest, I guess. Like I said, I was open to changing the color placement, but it pretty much stayed the same aside from getting rid of the black. I did end up changing the hues slightly though. So I wanted to make their hair in more of an electric blue, but because of the way that I colored their sweater, it needed a little bit more contrast, and so what I decided to do was to use the same color for their hair, but then change the color that I would use for their highlights. And so then that way it kind of gives the illusion that it's a little bit more bright and electric. And speaking of their sweater, I decided to change it from a blue-green to a more yellow-green. Again, just for contrast's sake, I thought that since I made their hair blue and also their pants, yeah, spoiler, I made their pants blue, I thought that having a blue-green just made everything blend in a little bit more, and so I went for more of a yellow-green. And then for the stripe on the sweater, I did go for a blue-green to kind of tie those 2 colors together. But for the main parts of the sweater itself, I wanted it to be a yellow-green. And then I made their eyes and their shoes more of a pure green, and it's a little bit darker than the sweater. Because I really wanted to exaggerate the bagginess of the sweater, it needed a little bit more contrast in shapes, and so I decided to make their pants really tight and then give them super chunky shoes. So then that way, really baggy sweater, skinny legs, chunky shoes. And I really like the silhouette. I'm really happy that I was allowing myself to play around with their design a lot more, because in the end, I really do like their new design. It's something that I've been drawing a lot, so that's fun, and I think that the silhouette does play a big part of that. I feel like every single time I talk about character design, silhouette is the one recurring theme, and that's because it is a very important part about character design. If your character has a very unique or identifiable silhouette, then that makes for a more interesting character design, because if you have a character and you make them all black and they just look average or uninteresting, or there's nothing that stands out, people are less likely to remember your character. And so I think that with all of these different shapes going on and the contrast in shapes, I think that Andy's newer design is a lot more interesting. Also, as a little touch on the shoes, I added this little crown shape, and if you've noticed, it's actually the same crown that is on Rory's shirt, and if you're really observant, it's a crown that I put on all of the characters in this universe. They all have like an article of clothing with this crown on it that I draw them in every now and again. It's basically, did you just hear what my voice did? Oh my god. I'm talking too fast and I need to remember to breathe. There's just so much I want to say. Basically, it's just a clothing brand I made for the universe. There's no real like unique thought behind it. It's just a logo pretty much, and they just sell clothing. It's kind of like a big corporate thing in their universe, and so all of my characters have at least one outfit with that crown on it. So I thought that would be a nice little touch, especially since I wanted the shoes to be really big and chunky. I had a little bit more wiggle room to play with their design a little bit more and to make them stick out. And then moving back up to the sweater, which is something I should have talked about when I was talking about the sweater, but it's fine. I really liked the idea of them having an undershirt, but I didn't like the simple tank top anymore, so I kind of made it a sleeveless turtleneck. There's no real choice behind it other than pure aesthetics. I liked the way it looked, and sometimes your character design just needs that. I wanted it to be really dark to contrast with both the hair and the sweater, because the sweater was light and then their hair was kind of a mid-tone, so I wanted a really dark color right there to kind of break it up. But I didn't want to do black, and so I made it a very dark, saturated blue. And then, the very last minute, I decided to change their hair again. I didn't like the hair pushed out of the face, and so I decided to make it really shaggy and in their face. Again, because of their personality and the type of character that they are, I thought that that would suit them a lot more. And I really liked it. And again, I think it really makes a more interesting shape. On the top of their hair, I kind of made these two symmetrical parts that kind of floof out a little bit. And then something that I did really like about their original hair is that underneath their ears and like on the sides of their face, there are these two tufts of hair that they're like poofy, they're almost like circles, and I really liked that. I thought that that was a really interesting shape and a really fun design, so I wanted to definitely include that in this new one and then kind of exaggerate them a little bit more. And that's pretty much it. I think this video is probably going to be a little bit shorter than usual, and I might have just been a little dramatic in terms of telling you about Andy's new design, but I don't know, I feel like I was just putting a lot of my pressure on myself. That wasn't a sentence, was it? I feel like I was just putting a lot of pressure on myself, but I hope that you like their new design. I love their new design. I have been drawing Andy so much more, and they really do feel like my main OC once again. I have always considered them my main OC, even when I wasn't drawing them a whole lot, but now they really, really feel like it. I have been drawing them nonstop, and it's kind of becoming a problem. But let me know what you think, if you prefer their original design, if you like their new one better, if you think that there are some things that I could still work on their design, because I'm open to changing it. Whenever I make a design video like this, I don't ever say that the new design that I come up with by the end of the video is the final design, because I'm always open to improving things, but for now, this is their final design. And also, feel free to head over to Instagram if you want to see more pictures of them, because I'm going to be drawing them a lot, and I'm going to be posting a lot of pictures, so let me know. Yeah. My brain is malfunctioning, so I'm just going to end this video now. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, if you like their new design, if you like Andy. Just give me your thoughts, please. I need the validation. And if you're new here, I draw a lot of my own original characters, and I talk about my own stories and stuff a lot, so if that's something that you're interested in, subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And you can follow me on any social media. They will be on screen now and linked in the description box below. Again, following me on Instagram would be the best place, because that is where I'm going to be posting pictures of Andy and more art, so follow me over there if you can. And there will also be some videos on screen now and linked in the iCard for you to check out if you want. I'd always appreciate the support. Please, give me validation. Again, I need it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.